The billionaire pretended to sleep to test the maid's daughter. He never expected what she did next. Rain tapped gently against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Alaric Voss's penthouse, an ivory fortress perched high above the city, where silence spoke louder than voices and luxury felt more like armor than comfort. At 48, Alaric had built an empire on cold logic and ruthless decisions. Nicknamed the Ice Baron by the press, he trusted no one, least of all kindness. To him, people were either assets or liabilities. But lately, something gnawed at him. Not hunger, not ambition, but emptiness. His housekeeper, Elena, had worked for him for 3 years, quiet, efficient, never asking for anything beyond her wages. And her daughter, Maura, just 6 years old, sometimes accompanied her on weekends, always polite, always barefoot in threadbare socks, eyes wide with a quiet curiosity that unsettled Alaric more than he cared to admit. One evening, after overhearing Elena cough through the night in the staff quarters, Alaric hatched a plan. A test. He laid out $10,000 in crisp $100 bills on his glass coffee table just within reach of anyone who entered the living room. Then he reclined on the sofa, eyes closed, breathing slow and steady, pretending to sleep. He didn't have to wait long. Soft footsteps padded across the marble floor. A soft gasp. Maura stood in the doorway, clutching a worn teddy bear with one button eye missing. Her gaze fell on the money. She stepped closer, bare toes curling against the cold floor. Alaric watched through barely parted lashes. Maura's eyes darted to the door, then to him, then back to the money. Her hands trembled. She bit her lips so hard it turned white. Alaric expected her to grab a few bills, maybe all of them, and run. After all, her mother needed medicine. Their apartment had no heater, and winter was coming. But she didn't. Instead, Maura reached into her pocket and pulled out a small wooden hairpin, carved with a tiny flower, its edges smoothed by years of use. With infinite care, she placed it on top of the money pile. Then she whispered so softly, Alaric almost missed it. "Mama says honesty is the only thing we truly own." She turned and walked away, shoulders hunched as if carrying the weight of the world. Alaric sat up, heart hammering. He stared at the hairpin, a simple, unpolished thing resting atop $10,000. In that moment, the walls around his heart cracked open. He hadn't just witnessed honesty, he'd witnessed dignity in its purest form. He found Maura in the kitchen, washing a single chipped teacup under cold water. "Why didn't you take it?" he asked, voice rougher than intended. Maura startled, nearly dropping the cup. I couldn't, sir." "Even though you needed it?" She looked down. "Mama says stealing might feed your stomach, but it starves your soul." Alaric kneeled, something he hadn't done in decades, and gently placed the hairpin back in her palm. "Your mother raised you well," he said, his voice thick. "Better than I was ever raised." Tears welled in Maura's eyes, but she didn't cry. She just nodded. That night, Alaric didn't sleep. He called his personal physician to visit Elena first thing in the morning. He authorized a full medical evaluation, paid for every bill in advance, and arranged for warm clothes, new shoes, and a fully furnished apartment in the safe neighborhood. But more than that, he changed. He began visiting community centers. He funded after-school programs. He stopped viewing generosity as weakness and started seeing it as strength. Months later, at a charity gala in his name, reporters asked what sparked his transformation. Alaric didn't mention stock gains or strategic pivots. He simply said, "A little girl taught me that the richest people aren't the ones who have the most, but the ones who give the most, even when they have nothing." Back home, Maura now attends a school with books, hot lunches, and teachers who know her name. Her mother works less and smiles more. And every Sunday, without fail, Alaric invites them over for pancakes, just the three of them, laughing in a kitchen that finally feels like home. Sometimes the greatest wealth isn't counted in dollars, but in moments that changes forever. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to ACA Storytales. We bring you weekly tales of hope, humanity, and second chances, because the world needs more light. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Your voice matters, and who knows, maybe your kindness will inspire someone else's miracle.